Doug, a small group discussion I lead went sideways on me with this question. What makes women the weaker vessel? What are your thoughts?
When Peter says plainly, husbands, honor your wives as the weaker vessel, he says it as plain as day. Women are the weaker vessel. So first, those words are there, and you have to do something with them. The first thing to do with them is obey them. Okay? So Peter says, honor your wives as the weaker vessel. So men are naturally competitive, and in football and in war and other, if I'm a coach, football coach, and I discover in the first set of plays that the other team's left tackle is a weenie, I discover that weakness. What do I do with that weakness? Well, I run my plays there all night long, and that poor boy's going to, he's going to have the night of his life, and he's going to be in counseling for 10 years over. So I see, if I see a weakness, I exploit it. In athletics, you exploit weakness. In business, you exploit weakness of your competitor. In war, you exploit the weakness of your competitor. Peter says to honor it. Okay, so husbands, honor your wives as the weaker vessel. So that's the first thing that you should notice. And if someone says, if a man says to a woman or to his wife, Peter says that women are the weaker vessel, ha ha ha. The first thing to note is that, can't you read? It says weaker vessel. Right. She could say, can't you read? It says honor. Yeah. That's not what you're. That's not what you're doing right now. You're dishonoring. So there's something odd. There's something going on there that we need to take note of. So men are to honor the weakness, not dishonor it, not wink, nudge, not pity the poor little woman. It's honor. So that tells me something about the nature of the weakness. Okay, so in Proverbs 31, the woman in Proverbs 31 is in her realm, in her domain, very strong. She and even describes her in Proverbs 31 as strong, as being strong. So, in what sense is she weak? What's the weakness? I think it's the sort of weakness that ought to be honored. So if you, and the image I would think of is, let's say you're taking a priceless Ming vase off of the mantelpiece. All right, you honor it. All right, because it's fragile. It's more fragile than a 9-pound sledge would be. What's weaker, this vase or sledgehammer? Well, the vase is weaker. Right. But I can get the sledge for $20 down at the hardware store, and I could get this for $50,000 or $500,000, whatever. Yeah. This is far more valuable, but it's weaker. But it's the sort of weakness that you honor, as opposed to the weakness of something that, roll of toilet paper. Okay. Right. When Peter says to honor your wives as the weaker vessel, it's something. It really means something. It really is weaker than the men are in some respect, and it's the sort of thing that a man should be able. A man should be able to teach his son how to honor it, and have that make sense to his boy. Okay. So when your mother enters the room, you stand up. Yes, ma'am. It's that sort of thing, and that kind of chivalric deference to a woman makes sense to boys and to men, and I think it's cutting with the grain.
You said that the fact that we're commanded to honor it tells us a little bit about what that weakness is. Can you flesh that out a little bit? What is the nature of that weakness? So we're supposed to give it honor, but what is the thing that we're honoring?
The thing we're honoring is we have someone, when a man and a woman are married, you have someone who is like you in many respects and utterly unlike you in others. Right? So God says in the garden, I will make a helper suitable to him. Yep. So it's not a helper identical to him, but a helper suitable to him in his league, but there are differences. He's physically stronger, for example. That would be a lot of the deference that men are, a lot of the honor that men show are signals or ways of telegraphing the fact that he's stronger and she's physically weaker.
So my strength is a gift to protect and serve you, and not to dominate and abuse you.
Correct.
Take
So
advantage
here's a little rule of etiquette that maybe not a lot of people don't even know, but when walking down the sidewalk with your wife, when you're walking down the sidewalk with a lady, the man is supposed to be closest to the road.
Right.
Okay. There's a great little book called Sperm is Cheap, Eggs Are Expensive.
Okay.
And it's quite full of a lot of profound insights. Men are supposed to be the barrier. They're supposed to be the wall. They're supposed to be the thing that protects the thing that is more valuable. The jewels are inside the castle. The castle walls are stronger because the jewels are more vulnerable. And that sort of thing should make sense. So a woman is the crown of her husband. So anything that results in men taunting women as the weakness shows that they don't understand what the woman's for, and they don't understand what the men are for. Men are there to provide and protect, and they're to spend their strength in defense of the woman. Okay, so that would be one, physical strength. Another would be emotional strength. Peter also says that women are Sarah's daughters if they don't give way to fear, for example. Now, it's possible for a woman to not give way to fear and to be courageous in that sense, because that's what Peter tells them to do. But he also singles them out and tells them to guard against this temptation. So a husband should be there as a buffer and a strength to help her guard against that temptation, and he must not despise the fact that she's going to be tempted that way. Right? Honey, do you really have to go out to war? Do you really have to go man the barricades? Do you really? Yes, I do. But he's not to despise the fact that she has that reflex action. He needs to lead her, teach her, so that she doesn't give way to fear. But that would be another example.
Okay.